The difference between committed and consistency can make all the difference. You see, these words go hand in hand, right? Being committed, being consistent. Many of you might feel that they're the same thing. Today, I'm going to explain to you the difference, the very subtle differences that actually can drive a large impact in anything that you apply these ideas to, or you already are applying or feeling the effect of. Committed. Being committed is about really being a part of a mission, really having not only your mindset and your actions, but your emotions tied into whatever outcome you are driving. Whatever outcome you're driving, your emotions need to be tied to that. Take sales, for example. If you can't get behind the product that you are selling, the service that you are selling, what you are trying to help people with, it's going to show up. It's going to show up in what you do. It's going to show up in your results. It's going to show up in how you communicate with people. So are you truly committed to the vision of whatever it is that you are selling? Right? When I was doing life insurance, I did my absolute best to understand the benefits of it, to see situations where the outcome was evident of having it or not having it. But truly, deep down emotionally, it wasn't something that had resonated with me very much, like all the way, right? I did my best to see it that way, but it just never came to full fruition with that. So it came across in my sales calls. Now, I gave it my absolute best and I was successful for some time, but overall, it wasn't what I wanted to do. It didn't light me up in the morning. I didn't wake up with a passion ready to do it. It was something that I had to do for where I was at. It was something I was committed to in ways emotionally, otherwise, as far as my career, my development, the teams I was on. But in terms of the actual product, my heart was not fully committed. I was not fully committed to helping people realize the need for it, though I spent a lot of time in it. Right? Now I do something entirely different. I work with a company that helps get more books into kids' homes so they can read more. Now, books have had an amazing impact on me. When I was a child, I hated to read. I hated to read the books that they gave to us in school. I hated to have anything to do with really reading, really. Especially my middle teenage years, all those years right there. Now, my senior year is when I really decided and understood I needed to pick up a book. Right? I was seeing all these different things online, like, reading is one of the skills of successful, da 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 da. And I knew I wanted to be successful in some capacity. So I started reading. I started picking up books, and it changed everything for me. Okay? So now I work with a company that helps get more books into kids' homes, and it helps build lifelong readers. So that I'm really committed to that mission. And it shows up in my work and how I talk to people about it. Right? So now I'm fully committed in it. My heart's in it. More than just my actions are in it. Right? So I'm committed. I'm there. I'm present. I push it along with a great heart about it, with a great mindset for the future. Right? Now, this you can apply this idea to anything. And this is a big thing in sales in general. People get into sales because the uncapped commissions and the different possibilities of making money. And then most people get out because it's not that easy. It's actually really hard, depending on what you're in and everything. But when you stay in it and you learn how to communicate in an effective way, when you learn how to influence people effectively, it's one of the greatest skills to have. But to my point, being committed, right? When I got into trading 4 or 5 years ago now, I didn't know what I needed to do. I didn't know what my heart wanted other than to build a better life for myself and to eventually have a better life for my family that was coming. But I didn't know that was coming at the time, but you know what I mean. For my life in general, I wanted to build a better life. So I got into, again, trading, and I found ways that I didn't understand at the time that were going to help me be ultra committed, such as mentorship. I started spending money on mentorship on people that could help me develop myself and grow without having to fail as much. And I also started spending money on the actual act of it, putting money into trading so I could play with it and learn. Now, realistically, I could have used, fake trading accounts more so to still play with it and learn, and I did that a lot as well. But I was ultra committed. The more I got into it, the more I put money into it and believed in it and saw the vision, put faith into myself, put faith into the unknown, I became more and more committed. Now that endeavor, I had to take a pause on it because nothing was changing for some time, and I knew I needed to get more uncomfortable. I knew I needed to change in a different way. That my rate of growth wasn't fulfilling. So that's when I got into life insurance sales. But what trading taught me was how to be committed overall, how to be committed with an endeavor, right, that you really choose to get into. So that's why when I got out of trading after having, most people would say I had no success with it, right? I mean, I could say I had no success financially with it. I just lost money. But it's the growth that I had. It's the what I learned in that process. I turned around and took it right into life insurance. Right? The first several months of life insurance were dead hard. I quit my full-time job going straight into life insurance, and it was hard. I mean, it was my own business. I used all the money I had to start the business, to put money into my advertising, marketing costs, essentially. And it was incredibly hard. I mean, I was dead broke for several months. And then things finally turned around. My point of telling you that is that the commitment that I had to it, the ability to commit my mind to a task, to a mission, and go for it, that's what made the difference. And I learned that because of my time in trading. I had the ability to believe in the unknown despite negative results in the physical because of what I had pushed through and worked through in trading. You see, when I got out of trading, it wasn't the most painful time whatsoever. It was actually one of the easier times. I realized I needed to change. I realized I needed to grow more. So I jumped into life insurance. I got my life insurance license a while back before, and I went straight into it. I said, all right, time to make a big change. And again, I was able to be committed. I was able to stay on the path because of my prior experience doing just that. And then things changed quicker. I started making results much quicker. Right? Is this all making sense? I hope so. Now, on the frame of what I started to begin with, commitment versus consistency, consistency is equally important. It's just equally important in a different way. You see, I could have got into trading and been committed to my overall emotional side of it, like the development of my life, but then not been consistent enough to make a difference. And in fact, that was what happened at different times. Consistency is all about the actions you take, right? Consistency is all about what actions you are actually taking, right? Because I could be committed to something but not be doing it enough to make a real difference. Like I said, many times with trading, that's what I was doing. It was something that I knew I wanted to pursue. It was something that I knew was going to help me do something different with my life. But the weekend would come and I'd end up drinking or partying in some way or wasting my time otherwise, playing video games in comparison to developing that. So instead of showing up in the way that I knew I needed to, I was not being consistent enough. I was letting my energies flow somewhere else. And that slowed my progress down. I wasn't making progress on those days. See what I mean? Well, I got past that eventually, and I learned how to be more consistent, along with the commitment within trading. Then came life insurance, and that's when I really pushed the needle with both of those. I became overall committed and consistent. I was working 12 hours a day, making enough calls, really pushing everything that I needed to do to stay committed, taking enough action, being consistent enough with my actions day after day. That's what actually started to make the difference. That's what actually started driving results. And you can apply this to anything, once again, with working out. It used to be that I had a lot of consistency issues with it as well, working out on my own. Working out at your home, on your own time, you're the only person who can make yourself do it, it can be daunting, it can be difficult, especially when you have everything else in the world already. And being an entrepreneur in general, or making your own schedule in general, is its own discipline, its own entire discipline of being committed and consistent. You see what I mean? But we have to work through this. We have to take it one day at a time. We have to understand where we're at in comparison to where we want to go. so we can set up a sustainable plan and stick to it. The way I went about it in many ways was not necessarily the most efficient. That's why it has taken me the years that it has to get to where I'm at now. And I'm trying to help you do it in a quicker way. I'm trying to help you understand what you can implement to make it quicker, make it a much quicker process. You see, I a lot of times I say I willed myself to where I was a year ago. Like 3 or 4 years of just willing myself into a greater version of me. And yes, development of the will is amazing. You must develop the will. You must have willpower. But there's ways to work smarter rather than harder. We've all heard that before, and it's the truth. And when it comes to building commitment or consistency, you need to set up a plan. You need to set up a plan that helps you develop over time, but in a smart way, where you're not falling back. You're not losing progress or working backwards whenever something small happens, something throws you off the path. Because failure is inevitable. Mistakes are inevitable. What are you doing in reaction to those things? Again, when I was in my process, I'd fail in trading, and because I wasn't being overall consistent, I'd lose a couple weeks of time because I'd go and do whatever else. And I wasn't mentally there as much. The commitment was lacking too in certain ways, obviously. Because I didn't have a sustainable plan. I was just going all in. Now, thankfully, I stayed on the path and I continued to reiterate and go back and go back and go back. But I don't want you to have to fail as many times as I did. I don't want you to have to go through as much pain emotionally as I did, or financially as I did. I want you to set up a plan for success. So, how do you do that? Well, there's a couple different things there. When you start to build your plan, you need to have sustainability in mind. Make a plan that's exciting, but also make it sustainable. How is it going to help you show up? Well, keep it simple. Make it simple. Make your actions simple. Make it exciting, the results you'll have in the short term, but make it simple to do. Make sure that you're not giving yourself too much to chew on. Because when we have an undeveloped will, big expectations can only hurt us most of the time. We find discouragement and then we give up. It's not fun. Guys, I'm going to be going over everything you need to do this new year to set up a sustainable plan, to be excited for the new year, to go for it in new ways, and actually have a plan for yourself to change. I'm going to be going over everything this coming Thursday. The link's going to be on my bio. I'm also going to make a post on the YouTube where you can sign up for it. It's free. It's a free webinar. It's going to be an hour long on this coming Thursday, right at 1 p.m. It's the 30th, right at 1 p.m. If you want to really set yourself up for success this year, plus go over the major reasons why so many people fail, you should be there. Again, it's at 1 p.m. this coming Thursday. Links in the bio. Guys, I love you guys. Have an amazing day. Have an amazing day. Let's go get them.